Today you're going to learn how to create this cool looking image with Photoshop. So we're going to take this image here and add some trees and some clouds going inside of the cup. So if you like these types of videos, make sure you hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do, because I come out with videos like this daily. And if you have any questions, just comment down below and I'll reply to you as soon as I can. So let's get started. So as always, if you wanted to follow along with this tutorial, I'll leave a link to this image in the description below. So let's go into Photoshop, and I already have the image opened up. And the first thing I want to do is get rid of this milk jar right here. So to do that, just choose the selection tool at the top, so the rectangular selection tool, and we're just going to click and drag right across the screen. So you're not going to get into the coffee cup, you just want to highlight the top part with the milk jar right here. Then go to Edit and click on Fill, and make sure it's on Content Aware, and then click on OK. And that's simply, this jar will just disappear. So that's called Content Aware. It's just a really easy way to erase out anything that you don't want in the image. So we also have to erase out this part of the milk right here. So we need to select this with the lasso tool. So just click right here, there's this little click and hold, and there's an option called lasso tool. So all I'm going to do is just drag across, click and drag, or just draw across, and don't draw into the coffee cup, and you just have this selection. So just like before, go into Edit, Fill, make sure it's on Content Aware right here, and click on OK, and that will disappear. So it doesn't have to be too accurate here, because we're going to cover that up with the scenery anyway. So next, let's just zoom out a little bit. And I want to get rid of some of these parts here, because I don't really want this part here. So we can do that with the crop tool. So choose this option right here, and there's an option called crop tool, and that will give you all of these controls around the corner of the canvas. So just click and drag, and just place the coffee cup right in the center, and hit enter, and there's our new image that we're going to work with. So now we're going to select the coffee in the coffee cup. So to do that, we're going to select the quick selection tool. So just click and hold right here, and there'll be two options, the magic wand tool and the quick selection tool. So choose the quick selection tool, and all you need to do is just click around the coffee, and it's just going to select the majority of the coffee. So it's not going to be perfectly accurate, so it's kind of missed some spots there, but it doesn't need to be accurate now. We're going to make it accurate later on. So let's create a new layer, and if you don't see this layer panel, you can just go to Windows and click on Layers, and I'm just going to rename this layer to Coffee, and the second one should be, I'm just going to name it Original Image. So in the coffee layer, I'm just going to paint this black. So I'm not painting it black for the actual image, I'm just going to use this as a guide. So let's deselect that, and let's zoom out. So now let's start cropping out these trees from this background. So to do this, we need to create an extra copy, two extra copies of this tree layer. So to create an extra copy, just click and drag the trees layer into the new layer icon, and let's do it one more time. So I like to keep a few extra copies just in case we make a mistake. We can just go back to the original copy. So what I'm going to do is hide the original trees copy right here, and click on the top trees layer right here, and go to Image, Adjustments, and Threshold. So this is just an easy way to crop the image. So it just kind of picks up where the trees are and whatever is in the background. And the more you play with this graph, so you can move it to the right, that just highlights more of the trees, and the more you move to the left, it highlights more of the background. So you just need to get it on the right spot, just there, and click on OK. And then choose the magic wand tool and click anywhere in the layer that's black. So that's just going to make a selection of whatever is black in this image. So now we don't need the top layer anymore, which is the black and white image, so you can just hide that. So now we have just this selection of the trees. So now what you can do is, you can go to the layer mask box right here. So if you press and hold the Alt key and click on the layer mask box, what we need to do is paint all of these areas in black. So, but right now what's selected is the trees. So to inverse this selection, just go to Select and click on Inverse. So now everything except for the trees is selected. So now you can just press Alt again, click back on the box, and we just need to paint this area in black to hide. So it's black to hide and white to reveal. So let's choose a black color and choose the paintbrush tool and just paint these areas in black. So now if I press deselect, that's Control D to deselect. Now we have a nice clean looking cropped image of the trees, but we still need to work on these little edges here. So to clean up those edges, again, I'm going to create another extra copy of this layer. And this is also just to keep an extra copy just in case we make a mistake. So let's zoom in into these edges right here. And I'm going to choose the paintbrush tool and click on this little icon here. That's like a little folder icon with the paintbrush on it. And this window will open up. And there's two tabs here at the top. So click on brushes right here. And you should have all types of different options here, like dry media brushes, wet media brushes. And choose one of these ones right here. I think it's called the Ultimate Charcoal Pencil. So even if you don't have that brush, there's plenty of other brushes that you can choose from. And these are basically like brushes with a rough edge. So let me show you what I mean. So let me just close this right here. And let me just open a new layer. And I just want to show you what this brush does. So I'm just going to choose like a random red color. And when I paint, let me just make this bigger. When I paint, you can see these rough edges on the edges of this brush. Normally a brush would be like this. So with these brushes, you can get those rough edges just around the edge of these trees, and you can also fix the edges of the tree branches as well. So let me just delete all that. So let's go into the layer mask box of the trees copy layer, and we're going to choose a white color to reveal, and let's also choose that brush that we just chose before. And what I'm going to do is just click around these areas, and you can see it's slightly starting to reveal those edges. So it just looks much better now instead of having like one straight line. So that's much better now. And another thing you can do is just make the brush a bit smaller. Then you can just kind of paint across to make it look like the branches are kind of coming out. So it just makes it kind of a bit more realistic. And you can also just make it a bit bigger, and you can just click once here and there. So that just kind of makes it look like it's slightly kind of sprinkled around. So it looks really good. So now I just want to put those branches out. So you got to make the brush quite small for that as well to kind of get those little details. And you don't need to be accurate at all. I'm just drawing random lines from right across from the image and into the background. So let's just do it all the way to the top, around here. And you can make the brush go as small as you want, but the smaller you go, the more details that you can get into. And let's just make it a little bit bigger. Kind of sprinkle up a little bit more around there. Get rid of these edges around here as well. So it just kind of looks like the bushes are kind of going over the edges around here. So what I might do is just kind of speed up the video a little bit, and I'm just going to go around all of these edges and just get all of those edges just right. So if I zoom out now, you can see that edge looks so much better. It actually looks like a proper tree standing there. So I'm just going to do that to all of these edges as well to get those edges looking a bit more realistic. So that looks good so far, but we can still kind of make these areas a bit better. So what we're going to do is choose a normal brush. So go to the paintbrush tool and just choose a general brush here and keep the hardness at 0%. And we're going to make the brush a relatively big size. So maybe just about there. And I'm just going to click around here and just reveal parts of the background. So I just want the background to just slightly fade in. And let's just make the brush a little bit smaller and kind of get into those tough spots there. And you can just kind of click around there as much as you need, and then the more you click in there, the more you kind of get rid of those edges. So let me just show you here. So I'm just going to click here. You can see those edges kind of just disappears off. Let's just kind of zoom out a little bit and do this even more. And I'm going to make the brush bigger again. This time I'll make it quite big. And I also noticed that I made a mistake here, so these bits are starting to get revealed here. So what I'm going to do is press Control and get that selection back, and then click inverse so we can get the selection over here. And let's choose a black color to hide. Let's just hide whatever was in there. Cool. And let's deselect that, and let's make sure that we select this portion over here, and let's just reveal the background there. So I think that looks much better now. So we can just reveal parts of the black, and we're going to put in some clouds in there anyway, so it's going to look pretty good. Cool, so that looks good. Let's deselect, and let's hide these little edges here as well. So I'm just going to choose a black color to hide, and just get rid of those edges there, and also some edges here as well. And let's hide the original trees copy layer. This is what we've got so far. So that looks pretty good. We've kind of got like a good, nice, cool looking selection. Looks like kind of a cool sunset going over the forest. So now I want to add some clouds and a moon in the background. So for the moon, I'm just going to use this image here, and I'll leave a link to this image in the description below. I'm just going to right click and copy the image, and let's go into Photoshop, and I'm going to paste this image in below the trees copy layer, which is the forest layer. So I'm just going to press Control V or Command V if you're on a Mac, and press Control T to resize the image, or Command T to resize. So I'm just going to make it smaller, and yeah, I think about that size is pretty good. And let's just place it right there and hit Enter. And next, I'm going to choose the Magic Wand tool and get rid of that black background. So just click on the black background and hit Delete, and that looks pretty good. So let's just move it down just a little bit, I think. Or maybe I still want to keep that circular shape visible. Or we can even move it around here somewhere if we wanted to. So I think, I think that looks good. I think that looks pretty good there. You can also play around with these different effects as well to kind of make it more blend in. So like hard light looks pretty good on it. The other ones, maybe pin light also looks pretty good. And sometimes hue also will look pretty good. So I think I might leave it on hard light because that actually gives it a nice cool effect, and it kind of blends in as well. So the reason I put it behind the trees layer, because if it's on front of it, then it just kind of, it's a bit too much of the moon. So if you put it behind it, it actually looks like it's kind of behind the forest.